Yo, welcome to another episode of Under the Surface, a talk show where we talk all things bizarre. This is the second episode on the foundation law. If you have not seen the previous episode, there is a link in the right upper corner. But if we all are caught up to speed, let's get to it. So let's dive under the surface. So we were talking about the landscape of the foundation of the Bazaar. We're trying to stick to what we know with a decent amount of speculation.
Yeah, you kind of have to speculate on a 3-minute video that just drops the fact that the bazaar's flat.
Oh, yeah. We mentioned builders, and it seems like one of the builders, or perhaps if not one of them, then he would be somehow related to them, is a shrouded figure. Or the shrouded figure, I'm not sure. Do you feel like there's like new depth to this character now?
Definitely, but it's kind of like, whoa, that's deep, man. But I have no clue what you're saying, because it said they're waiting, right? They're like at the foundation and
At the
they
edge
wait.
of the foundation.
Yeah.
But what does it mean? What's the edge of the foundation? Like, is it the literal edge of the stone of this plane? No, because we can see at the edge of the disc there are some sort of glowing symbols, right? And there is a literal edge, but like, are they standing like right there at like 90 degrees to the surface?
Can you just like fall off? Can you just like walk off and go whoop?
Yeah, so
You know?
Actually, that's a great point here that you brought up, because I think that you cannot fall off, because foundation creates its own gravity, right? There are two possibilities here. It either like propels itself upwards continually, so the gravity is, created by a downward force, which would sort of contradict the fact that it has to spin perpendicularly for day and night cycle. So I think we can exclude that. Or it just does some gravity magic or technological stuff, who knows, and it just creates gravity all around itself. So that would probably mean that if you stand on the underside of the foundation, you still stick to the surface. And I think that would make sense. On top of that, I think that the celestial conduit, the enchantment, radiant enchantment, the art, the place depicted on that art is exactly at the center of the underside of the foundation.
Oh, man, this opens up a whole new world, like literally. Like the rejects or the evil people or whatever are living probably on this other side, or like the scum of society or something. I don't know. We don't know what it looks like down there. But
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be like scum of the society, but like imagine a whole secret civilization on the underside of the bazaar.
it brings a whole new meaning to under the surface,
It does, yeah. While we at the point of the celestial conduit, I wanted to just quickly bring up those dwarves/gnomes that we were sort of introduced to during the Arkan video. They were next to this golden mountain. You remember them, right?
Yeah.
This whole time, they were hidden in the plain sight, because one of those gnomes/dwarves is depicted on the celestial conduit. And also another one, for example, is in Sanguine Valley. I don't have all the pictures for the enchantments, but apparently dwarves are some sort of explorers of some mystical places. Maybe those guys actually live on the underside of the bazaar.
True. I was also wondering if like the infernal stuff and the dragon, are that on the underside? Kind of has a similar vibe to this like celestial conduit. You can see like a volcano type thing near the celestial conduit too.
Yeah, I guess, but it's also like this whole mix of different biomes. Like, I mean, there's some sort of scorched earth near this crystal, right?
Yeah.
Further in the back, we can see mountains, but also some glaciers on the side, and on the opposite side, as you mentioned, there's a volcano. There's this arcane circuitry that was mentioned, right, in the previous episode. Perhaps those lines of fire, ice, and lightning are those arcane circuitry.
Oh, true. I mean, it would make sense since the conduit's likely the power, right?
We do not know if it's the only power source, but it's possible that it's like one of them at least.
Yeah, it seems very powerful and important at the very minimum. I wrote something here because, like, even with just the top layer of the bazaar, it seems very like, they say like the ocean is 80% unexplored or whatever, right? It's like the bazaar surface kind of feels like that, like the way they talk about it. There's all these outlands. They mention jungles, deserts, and the Great Outland Sea, which I don't really know what that is, but they mention it. And you have like Pearl, who is like digging for all these ancient artifacts and stuff. So it feels like not a lot of
Mhm.
people have ventured out there until maybe recently, aside from a few, weirdos.
I mean, we know that dervishes, right, live in the outlands. There are some inhabitants to the lands of the outer foundation, let's call it, and also envoys and cultists tend to make expeditions to other places, on the foundation. There are probably some locations around the edge that are not strictly related to the bazaar proper. Yeah, you mentioned jungle, desert, and sea. So those are three locations that are described to us. So we already established that desert is on the east side of the bazaar, at least from the side that we are looking at it in the picture, and sea is sort of in the front of the bazaar, so the south sector. I talked about this mountainous region earlier, and I think that this mountainous region is this jungle part on the west side. Because if we look at this new dino, I don't know if that's a monster or an event. Like, we're going to talk about this dinosaur in a second, but we can see a volcano in the background. And if we look at the picture of the foundation, this whole panorama of it, further back in this mountain range, there is a really high mountain. Of course, there's another high mountain behind the bazaar, like we can see a part of it, but I think this higher mountain on the west side is that particular volcano.
It makes sense. I didn't really even put together where that dinosaur was just because I was so distracted by him.
I mean, yeah, dinosaur with a grappling hook on its back can distract you.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out what this guy's deal was, but I think you're right because you see other dinosaurs behind him too. So it's a whole just dinosaur area, and it looks exactly like that. I wouldn't assume it's on the bottom.
I think we can infer from all of that, especially since to the right of it we have this like Aztec snake statue and Pearl, being blinded by this glowing crystal on the head of this statue. So I think this jungle is some sort of prehistoric land combined with this Aztec aesthetic. And we will see dinosaurs there and also those Aztec ruins. And I think Pearl is exploring all those places during her travels, like currently. So I assume that the next season we are going to get possibly a Mac card pack related to all those Aztec stuff we've seen in the, I think that was Arken video. This dog statue and this stuff with the dragon heads.
Yeah.
And also we'll probably see Dooley pack, and I think it's going to be related to dinos. And it's going to be like half mechanical, half actual animals.
Okay. Yeah, that seems reasonable. I'd really like a more tightly themed seasons too, like that. I feel like that's what we're headed towards. It definitely seems from what we've seen, but do you think this dinosaur is a merchant or do you think he's an enemy?
Damn,
He's got to be an enemy.
I would assume so. Like that's more likely, but actually having a dinosaur merchant would be really cool.
I assume there will be one eventually, like with the toy merchant, where it's like dinosaurs from all heroes or something. But there's not that many. There's like 2 dinosaurs in the game, so
yeah. And even if they introduce 10 new dinosaurs, which I doubt, it still wouldn't be enough to like warrant a whole merchant.
Yeah.
But perhaps an event that gives you a random dinosaur item.
I just love this guy, and I don't know what he's doing. Like, what could he possibly be doing with his tiny little arms on this grappling hook? Like, what is he trying to catch?
Actually, yeah. Is he trying to catch something, or is it somehow a propulsion system to some degree? Like, imagine a dinosaur a la Spider-Man, just swinging from tree to tree on his grappling hook.
I'm gonna make a call right here. I think this dinosaur has like a really thick, like posh British accent. Like that's just what I'm imagining him with, because it just seems so ridiculous. But it'd be hilarious. Like I don't think he'll just roar or something. Oh, I do have something a little off topic I kind of wanted to mention here. So Isaac Marion mentioned that some of the voice lines should make more sense now because he had written them and we didn't know that the Bazaar was flat. So obviously it changes a lot of things. So I was playing, and a lot of times I play without music on and just have the game like muted or whatever. But I decided to turn it up all the way and like click for voice lines. And Nautica, the aquatic merchant, she makes a comment that I never thought about before, but she says you'll fall out of the bottom of the ocean, like at the very bottom, you'll just fall out. So there's just no like land in part of the ocean. It's just completely, yeah.
I'm confused here, you know. I mean, I
Okay.
can get that it could work like that. I mean, it could sort of propagate this idea of the underside of the foundation, because then the ocean would be sort of two-sided, you know? You can
Yeah.
emerge from the Bazaar side, or you could emerge on the underside. And then it could probably mean that you could travel between those two places without having to go like around the edge.
She like says she's like scared of it too, and like scared of crazy, isn't it? And stuff like that. So I don't think she's actually like been near it. She just knows it exists and you can go through.
If you could fall out of the bottom, then like the bottom wouldn't have gravity, like the gravity would just end at some point, which is weird. So perhaps it's just like either it means exactly that gravity just ends at some point and you can fall through the bottom, like as if you have broken bedrock in Minecraft and just jumped into the void, or like she's just scared of the underside.
Yeah, she doesn't seem particularly knowledgeable on it when I was listening to her, and says she's from Pelago and came through the Seagate and everything, so she's not a Bazaar native. She doesn't really know, she doesn't like isn't speaking from like experience here. She's just probably heard stuff. There is one other thing I wanted to make sure we got to, and it's about the sketches, which we translated some of them that are in this video. It's not that interesting, people. But None had found something really weird, the limited time opportunity or whatever.
We can go through them like chronologically. First, we can see this panorama of the Bazaar, like of the city. So yeah, you found out it's just spells home, which sort of makes sense because they are talking at that point in the video that the city is their home.
Well, we do know the narrator, who is called the archivist, who's basically just a Bazaar historian, is the one who made these, as per Isaac Marion on the lore channel on Discord. But yeah, he just says like most of them just say Bazaar or home, but you have a couple interesting ones here that I actually like, because a lot of the stuff is just little scribbles too, like to pretend like there's text. But, like you see this really cool picture of the Bazaar, like when it's first revealed that, oh my god, it's flat, and it just says like atmosphere, and then it just has like an arrow pointing towards clouds. It's like, oh, we really needed those named, I guess. And this is our home, which is like, okay, that's kind of sweet. Then there's another picture that has it says dark depths, and then it says crack from the surface. It just shows this giant crack like over the landscape, and you see all those little like symbols that you see around the Bazaar or the foundation in it. That's interesting. I'm curious what the dark depths is. I think we really know. But
yeah, I mean, if we look, like if we compare that picture of this, sketch of this canyon, and look at the whole panorama of the foundation, I don't see any canyons there. So perhaps it's the actual underside, like a first sneak peek, or maybe not first, maybe we just don't know that there are more, but maybe this dark depths is actually the underside of the Bazaar. And there's also like in the distance some sort of glare, like this light source perhaps. So maybe that's the celestial conduit in the distance.
Yeah, because I don't have a clue where that would be on the surface. I'm glad we have pictures, you know what I mean, of the Bazaar now, so we have a better idea. But like, I want like video game map level, like this is where this is, this is where this is, this is where this is, so I can actually like orient myself. Because right now it's just kind of the Bazaar with like random landscape around it, right?
Haha,
so you can kind of get an idea, but the Bazaar is a crazy place.
Yeah, I guess one more thing that I wanted to bring up. There's like this glowing crystal on top of the head of the statue. And, well, it's not the first crystal that we have seen, right? We have talked about this strange artifact from the Arkan video. perhaps this idea of infinity stones isn't that, far-fetched. Perhaps there are actually, various crystals scattered through the foundation that, are part of this crazy magic that gives its power, because we know that it is made from this unknown material, and maybe this unknown material has something to do with those crystals. Maybe it is like a crystal, and if you, I don't know, break apart a piece, then it can become something else that is also a crystal, but it has different properties.
Yeah, I didn't even think too much about what that could possibly be. I was more curious what the actual event would be or whatever, I don't know. The whole crystal thing, just the only thing I'm imagining is like, imagine you take too many of these out and then the whole world powers down and everybody dies or something. You know what I mean? Like one guy just like takes out one. They've been doing it for years and he just takes out one and then the atmosphere just disappears and
like
everybody
this
suffocates.
Scrat or whatever he's called, like from the Ice Age films, right? Like instead of taking an acorn, it takes a crystal and everything breaks down. But yeah, I think this theme of crystals, and various crystals at that, is brought up time and time again, and we still don't know what's it all about, because even if we look at like the city panorama, there are like blue crystals on top of the buildings, and
Yeah.
there are like inserted in sides of the buildings as well. Some parts are glowing. I think there's something to it. We still don't know what it is exactly, because there are like blue crystals in the bazaar. There are pink crystals in those animated statues. There are purple crystals with the cult. We've seen like black crystal in Sanguine Valley, and also,
I mean, the logo has an orange crystal in it, right?
That's
It's everywhere.
Exactly. But black crystal was with this artifact, and now we have seen this yellow / transparent crystal that glows. There's a mystery there, and I still cannot put my finger on it, what it means.
Because we're kind of inching towards like the Mayan, that like hidden Mayan jungle area with Pearl and everything, I have a feeling we're going to learn a lot more about the crystals, or at least get an idea soon. Maybe that's just wishful thinking, but I hope that's like the next thing we figure out, because it's like clearly like the main power source or something.
Yeah. But I guess that's all the mysteries here that we have uncovered, unless you have something to add.
No, I think I'm good. I think we have more to talk about in the future, but
I mean, I'm still impressed that we managed to make raw material. There's almost an hour of raw recording from 4 minutes of video. So, yep.
We know what we're doing.
Definitely.
We know how to yap.
First of all, thanks for watching. If you have any idea what those crystals are and what's the connection between all of those, you may tell us, because we still have no idea. And also, do you like this T-Rex with a grappling hook?
If you say no, you're banned.
That is a possibility. I'm just going to hint that. But yeah, thanks for watching. You may leave a like. You may leave a sub. You may even send this video to a person who also is interested in the Bazaar lore. And yeah, I guess that's it for today. We'll see you all on Thursday for another episode on Blake's channel. And bye!
See ya.